just now and fall softly on the ground. Let our hearts be.
Hey guys, so I am purging, decluttering, downsizing in my yarns and everything, and so far I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a small shoebox, one down there, and they're all going to auction. So this is my sock yarn, and then we went through all the acrylics, so they are all down here. They're going to go to auction, and when I know they're up, I will put the link in whatever video if you want to go look at them and stuff. It's out of Caledonia, and they do ship. So, and then I got some in here. This is just stuff that I just don't use anymore, and it's either wool or just stuff I just don't use, and this has been a very difficult process. So this will go up, not this week, because this week's will come down on Tuesdays, but these are all the sock yarns. And this is my extra overflow whatever. This is a complete set. I bought this, but I don't like the yarn. It's just me personally. So I will sell that as a set. And then we're going to keep these two out. Jerry likes those. All my extra sock yarns. So, and then I have cross-stitch stuff that will go eventually. This is 28 count Monaco, and I just don't do 28 count anymore. So this is what I've been doing today on this rainy day. So you ever downsize like this? Mr. Jerry made the remark, all that money, but this is all stuff I've had at least 5 years to 10 years. If I'm not going to use it, I'm not going to use it, because I still have my blanket yarn. And then in my craft storage, let me turn. So I have to go through those two totes yet. That is Aran weight. And this is what I've got left of my Aran weight, which would be those two shelves right there. And then these are my projects of my sewing, quilts that need to be quilted. The tops are done, blankets down here. And then in here, I have some more fingering weight. And then these are all my sock yarn. This whole tote is Freckled Whimsy's self-striping, and then this is everybody else's. So it's not like I'm not going to have sock yarn. And this up here, no judge zones here. Oh my goodness. So this is all my quilting stuff. I used to do spinning. So this is all my spin stuff that I need to do something with. And then, of course, this is all fabric, cross-stitch, fabric. And then this is all my cross-stitch that I have to go through. And then I have fabric I started by color. So I need to, because this is yardage. But I have went through this, and I need to take the scraps out and then add them down in here. So yeah, Mr. Jerry redid the closet for me, years ago. And then I have my cross stitching over here with my diamond dot. And behind the door is some more. So I just need to go through this stuff and downsize because I'm not using it. So, and poor Miss Nala. Mama's just not sitting still today. So, but anyways, that's what we've been doing today. Yeah. On this gloomy day. So I'll come back and talk to you in a second. Hey friends, happy Wednesday. Late in the day. Probably after 4. Not for sure. Time has flown by today. So how are you? Terry here. You're going to hear Mr. Jerry's TV. So that won't help. You can try just a second.
Well, I'll just...
Okay, I'm back. He's going to put his headphones on, so I appreciate his help. I started all of this downsizing in my sock yarn is because I couldn't hardly go through the door of my closet because I've been doing a lot of sewing on top of blanket making and everything. And I did get my socks done that I showed you yesterday, and I wanted to try to knit up another pair, and I didn't particularly want it to be self-striping. I wanted something different, and so I started pulling out the sock yarn, and I thought, you know what, you might as well go through the sock yarn and pull out what you like and what isn't speaking to you, because over the past 5 to 10 years I would sit there, and last year I did, maybe 2 years in a row, I did where I drew out 12 pairs of sock yarn, and every month, the first of the month, I would draw a number out, well Jerry did, and then I would knit that sock up. Now if it was something that I really didn't want to knit, then I had some extras I could draw from that. Well, when you go through your sock yarn for 2 years in a row doing that, and then you add a little bit here and there, you start seeing them over and over again, and you're thinking, I'm never going to knit all of this, number one, but I'm never going to knit certain ones. They just, you know, they just don't call to me anymore. It's like when you first start out in any type of craft, you know, what you liked 10 years ago, your taste changes. And so I started on that, and I got them all pulled out, and I took a tote, and I actually took like 3 totes, and I filled up with between sock yarn, acrylic yarns, anywhere from cotton linen to sport to fingering, knit picks and all that stuff. I even have some older Felici, and you know, the Felici is what I started on when I learned, and the knit picks fingering is what I started on when I learned, and then I got into the indie dyers and pay way more than that now. So, but anyways, I was so hot and sweaty from lifting up and setting things down and picking things up and putting things away, and then I found project bags and I just stuck them on the shelf, and I thought that's another day. And then there was others on the floor, and I pulled out what I could, and then I pushed that off to the side for another day. But like I said in my video before this, I want to go through my cross stitch next. I have patterns that when I started back in 2020 is completely different than what I like now. I tend to now really like bright, colorful stuff, but I also love the samplers. I love Quaker, anything Quaker. And every once in a while, a little cutesy thing will pop up. So I need to go through that and pull out what I'm not going to use. I have 2 bins full of projects that I had started and I haven't went back to them. So I need to someday sit down with you all so you can see what's in my cross stitch and decide with me, am I going to keep it or not? And just depends on the fabric, if I keep the fabric or if I cut out that section. And if I don't care for the fabric, then I'll go to auction, because I've discovered that I can't do linen. I want to do linen. I have some beautiful linen. My eyes just won't let me, even with the big magnification. I just haven't had the heart to part with them yet. So I'm just strictly an Aida girl, and even the 28 count is, I don't like it. I think it's because with Aida, you can just, they're just, you know, squares. You just go to it, you make an X. The linen, there's 4 squares where there usually is 1, and then you got to count up 3. No, there's 9 squares. So you count up 3, go over 3, so you know right where your X's is. And once you get to doing linen, it comes second nature, just like the Aida does. So I need to do that, but it's been a very overwhelming day for me. And I could just sit here and just cry. Whew. But I do know that if something happened to us, our kids know how expensive this stuff is, but they're not, you know, they're just going to either take it all to Goodwill or, you know, something. And so I might as well have control of it. But Mr. Jerry, you know, I know when he says, you know, wow, that's a lot of money. And he's not meaning it that way, because when you take it to auction, you're taking a chance. And the majority of what is going to go up this week, which the auction will start on Tuesday night, I did put a reserve of $15 on the majority of them but one, because they're all worth at least $15. You're getting a good deal if all you get is $15 for it. Now, the sock yarn that's on the table, we've decided that we're going to sell them by 2s. And sock yarn nowadays is anywhere from $30 up to, you know, 40 some dollars. And so, but I have to remember, I'm not using it, because there is that chance that someone puts a bid of $5 on it and nobody else wants it, and they get a $60 skeins of yarn for $5, unless I put a reserve of at least 15 on them. So I don't know. So anyways, the dining room table has got all that. I got them paired out and stuff, and yeah. He will go and buy some more 10-cent sacks so we can put the yarn in them, and then we usually tape what lot number it is and what's in the bag, and the description, and it saves them that way. I know they're listing what I'm putting on there, and if they don't, we usually email them and they correct it. So, but anyways, the only crafting I did was finishing those socks I showed you yesterday. But I got it done this morning. So I got 2 pairs done. This is Freckled Whimsy's Christmas Club number 2. I think this was January's. I have not started February's or March's, but I liked how they even ended with that pop of red right there to Kishner the toe. And I think I'm going to do like my friend Miss Jenny does. I'm going to get a tote shoebox one. And I'm just going to throw this in because this one I made it the size that would fit our daughter, her husband, Jerry, and I could wear them too myself. I would have to do a tote for our son and our 2 grandsons because they all wear the same size. Big boats, size 13s. And then I'd have to do another one that would be for Lindsay because she's like an 8.5. So, you know, but yeah, so I think that's what that's going to go into. My blankets that I've already got done and stuff that I make, I'm just going to do the same thing. And I think when they're here at Christmas, I'll just let them go through. And if there's something they want, then they can just have. So, but I did pull out of my stash from Up North Yarns, which is Monica. And this was called Alaskan Sunset. It is superwash merino, which is 85%, 15% nylon, and it is 100 grams, 438 yards, and I paid $29 for this. And I got this 2 years ago because I was going to do it in a hat that the yarn now is going to be sold because it was wool, and I was making it for the girls, and they can't wear wool. And wool does bother my hands, so I think I'm going to go with this one, I think. But I don't have it wound up yet, but it's just the different grays with the peachy colors. It is more dark like that. I'm thinking this. Because I said I didn't want to do another stripe yarn, but I did find a stripe yarn of Freckled Whimsies from last year's Christmas I thought about doing, but I think I'm going to go with this. So, and then I have 2 Black of the Months that came in from Missouri Star Quilt Company, and I have to start that once I get this other one done. And I also have another embroidery one. So, so this came in last month. This is called, the quilt is called Spring Dreams. Oh no, this one's called it's called Spring Dreams. So this black is going to be like this. And they put it in this cute plastic bag now instead of the box. And it comes with the instructions and how to cut it and everything. And then it's going to pretty much be those colors there because it's mainly a purple quilt. So I did get that. And then a couple days ago, Black 3 came in, and it looks like this. Oh, there's a surprise in here. Oh, surprise! Wow! I didn't check this out very good. It says surprise. It says something special just for you. We just couldn't resist dropping in a little something extra. Use these, let me show you. Use these darling butterfly pins to hold your pieces in place as you sew, or simply enjoy the cheerful touch they bring to your workspace. A sweet reminder that every stitch can bloom into something beautiful. Aren't those cute? That's nice. And then these are the colors right there. Wow, that was nice. Because when it came in, I just looked at the, because this was in front of it, and I set it aside because I've been working on that scrappy quilt along. So my mystery clue 8 came out today, and she has extended it for 2 more weeks if you want to turn your square into a rectangle. I'm done. I'm going to do round 8, which is 2 rows, and I'm done. It's already big enough because mine was done with worsted weight, and I did an H hook, a G or an H hook. I have to go look. So she's already good size. I don't need to make it any longer because it already goes way past. So I just want it done. So, and then my scrappy block 7, I have the pieces all laying here to be sewn. And no, I did not get in here to sew, but I did do that productive cleaning of purging of stuff. So I just think that every once in a while we should do it. It's not easy. It's hard because it'd be too easy just to sit there and go, yeah, someone else can deal with it. I guess I wanted to deal with it. I wanted to make sure that I was taking out what I didn't want anymore. And, you know, that's just how things go sometimes. I know that when Jerry retired, we started downsizing a lot. I mean, I think it was his way of adjusting to it. And he started in his work area and started, you know, selling stuff. Then came into the kitchen. He emptied out the whole blooming kitchen, top to bottom. We had stuff all over the place. And then we just both sat there. We went pile by pile, and we'd say, we're going to keep it, we're going to sell it. And we took a lot up, several weeks worth, up to the auction. And there are times now that every once in a while something will come up and he goes, I know we had that. And then he'd look at me and goes, unless I sold it. And 9 times out of 10, he sold it. But, you know, you just gotta make room sometimes, because I don't want to sit here and say, well, I've got enough yarn. Shame on me for buying more yarn. Or I've got enough fabric. Shame on me for buying more fabric, because yeah, I worked hard, and so did he, to have this retirement life. And we both sacrificed a lot for our family so that our kids could have the best kid growing up they could, as far as being able to play sports, be in band, go to camps, go on spring breaks, you know, all that stuff that neither him and I ever got, because our folks just didn't see that was necessary, and they weren't going to spend the money on it. And I just feel like now it's our turn. And our kids make way more than we do, and we're so happy for them, because now it's starting to come back, and they're starting to bless us with it. And it's hard for us to say, no, we can afford it. And they just want to give us a blessing by covering something for us. So I just need to do this to help me with my spirit, to get it calm, to be able to breathe, to be able to go and look and not have to go through 6 bins of sock yarn to find whatever, and then have to take care of it all. And now it's down to 2. And hopefully it will bless somebody else, because sometimes when you get things at auction, maybe you didn't think you could afford something like that, and maybe you can get it now. Because I have bought several things when it was on sale. I bought things at auction. I bought material at auction when I couldn't really afford to pay, you know, money for good fabric. So, but yeah, So what do you think? Should I do this one, or should I go back and pull something else out? I really don't know what I want, but I do like this. So I don't know. But anyways, thanks for stopping by, my friends. I'm going to let you go so I can go put my feet up, rest my back. Oh, our storms. We got lucky. It went all above us. And when it did hit us about 12:30, it was only here for maybe 15-20 minutes. We had a little bit of high winds. We had no hail, lots of rain. But up in Grand Rapids, north of us, 30 miles up, they had lots of hail. They had, some areas had 2-inch hail. I see down in Illinois, there was a town that had a tornado that wiped things out, and they actually had grapefruit size hail. They have pictures of it. So just so thankful, because further up north, the middle of the state, up in Big Rapids, they were getting like the freezing rain. And then the UP, where Miss Gina's at, they were getting slam dunked with snow. So it's like someone said, only in Michigan can you have all 4 seasons at one time. Because south of us, they were warmer than us, and they were getting all that where they could get tornadoes and stuff. And we had dropped from the 60s down into the 40s. So yeah. And then today, all that's done is rain. So it would have been a great day to listen to my audiobook and to be crocheting on that blanket, or cross stitching, or even kicking this up to knit. But instead, it was a great day to go through my stash and downsize it. So thanks for listening to me again, my friends, and till we can meet up again, see you soon.